to another episode of Beyond the Bottom Line. And thank you guys so much for all the feedback we've received. Oh, hey, I didn't see you there. First of all, I just want to say thank you guys so much for actually watching the videos and everything. It's kind of a bit of behind the scenes of what I do over here. This is currently the episode you guys are watching, the Edwin Ritchken podcast episode we did with him. Great dude, by the way. Love his energy and his idea about entrepreneurship. But I do actually want to apologize specifically about the first few seconds of it. And it's a bit of like, I guess, a lesson really about, I guess, film producing and editing. Some things don't always work out. For example, so my frame, it's not really focused on me. That's just Canon auto framing, but I have, solved issues for the other ones. And then the beginning of that clip is just corrupted footage. So, sorry, it's gonna be awkward for the first, I think it's like 5-10 seconds maybe that I'm just there in this frame. But yeah, in short, I've actually been having a lot of fun with these little projects, and I'm going to be doing more content like this, like behind the scenes type of things, and pretty much what happens here at EPF as well. Mainly around, I guess, behind the scenes for Beyond the Bottom Line. Yeah, it feels very awkward just talking to a camera by myself. But yeah, yeah, so that's pretty much the only reason why the first few, you'll see why the first few, I guess, seconds are just a still image of myself. And anyways, but I'm going to leave you guys alone to it. Hope you guys do enjoy the video. Leave a like, share, subscribe to the channel, really does help out. And yeah, hope you guys do enjoy. If you guys like me doing this type of content where I'm behind the scenes, showing you guys behind the scenes stuff, do let me know down below in the comment section. Cool. Anyways, take care. Hey there guys, and welcome to another episode of Beyond the Bottom Line. And thank you guys so much for all the feedback we've been seeing on social media and on our YouTube channel. It's been really great and motivational for us, and knowing that we are actually making some of an impact outside. Today I'm actually with someone who's had a long career in different fields, but now they're doing their own thing where they're becoming an entrepreneur themselves. So I'm going to hand it over to Edwin to just explain a bit more about that. Edwin, how are you doing?
Good in yourself.
I'm good, just being a bit of a crazy day, just running around and stuff, but it's always a good thing.
The busier you are, the better for.
Definitely. So let's just jump straight into it. I just want to know who you are and actually what your business, because I know before we started the interview, you said your business is Edwin Ritchken Consulting. Okay.
So I'll tell you a bit about myself. So I come from Johannesburg. I did my matric here, and then I studied at Wits University. Initially, I did a degree in computer science and economics, but this was in the early to mid 80s, and my energy and the energy of the country was very much political. So I then did an honors and a doctorate in politics, working in Bushbuck Ridge for about 8-9 years. And then after 1994, I got a job with an NGO, and then myself and a partner established a consulting and investment company, knowing nothing about business. And we got it going, and after 10 years doing that, I was ready for a change, and I sold out and went to advise different ministers in government. And then after that, I worked a bit for the presidency, facilitating collaboration in the mining industry to try and make our industry more competitive and more sustainable, more socially responsible. And now I'm just freelancing and advising different companies.
So before we go on to you about freelancing and you advising different companies, I just want to touch on the mining thing just a tiny bit. So in this world, we're going through the fourth industrial revolution. It's the whole tech space, AI, and all that coming through. But do you think it's still important for youth to get involved in the mining sector?
I think it's fundamental. So the first thing, when you look at South Africa's history, we are a product of mining. In the 50s, 60s, 70s, South Africa would be producing 90 tons of gold per year. The next highest producer globally was producing 9 tons of gold. So it was through mining that Johannesburg was developed, that industry was developed, financial services were developed. You can't understate the importance of mining to South Africa's economic development. However, you've also got to say that between 1910 and 1968, the real wages of mine workers actually dropped. So it was really on the back of those poor people that funded apartheid. Mm. They funded my education as a white South African. I got 20 times the subsidy for my education than a black child would have got. So we really owe, South Africa's development to the sweat and, alas, the exploitation of those people. But mining is still the biggest contributor to exports, particularly platinum group metals mining. That's still the biggest employer in South Africa, and it is becoming incredibly technologically advanced. So to give you a sense of that, in the 60s, 70s, 80s, we'd have these very labor-intensive mines. Now we've still got a lot of gold left, but it's 5 kilometers deep.
Oh.
And you cannot send people 5 kilometers deep.
Was it because it's too dangerous, or?
It's too hot.
It was too hot.
It's already unbelievably hot at 4 kilometers. So you would have air conditioning units using up almost the same amount of electricity as the whole of Joburg to keep the mines cool. Because they're not cold by any, they're about 35 degrees.
Ew, that is very hot.
So it's quite an experience to go down these deep level mines and to see what tens of thousands of South Africans do every day for a living is go down kilometers underground and facilitate the mining of different resources. The thing being that now mining is becoming completely digitalized. So already in Australia, you've got mines where you've got machines working on the mine site.
Oh, like those Bostic dynamic robots going in and out of the tunnels and stuff.
Correct. And you've got their controllers are sitting in Perth, hundreds, if not thousands of miles away.
Yeah.
So the only way we're going to be able to access our deep level gold is through completely mechanized mining. And as we go deeper with platinum, it's going to become increasingly digitalized and mechanized, very, very high tech. And you're going to have very highly trained operators and very highly trained people to maintain those machines. So that's the future of mining.
Moving on, before you were speaking about becoming a freelancer / entrepreneur, I mean, I guess you could say kind of both, but more freelancer, right?
Yeah, whatever you.
Okay, so we'll stick to like freelancing then. So with the freelancing, you say you're doing consulting, but consulting in what, just in general, or?
So my specialization is strategy, but at the moment, what I'm focused on is building a post-mining economy in areas like Marikana, which is completely dependent on the platinum mines today. I don't think South Africa appreciates how important platinum is to our economy. As I was saying, it's our largest export.
Yeah.
We've got 90% of global platinum reserves. So the big challenge with platinum, and this is another career path for people, is there's no intrinsic use for the metal. It's not like coal where you burn it for energy or something like that, or iron ore where you create steel. It's got a highly technical use. So it's used as a catalyst to clean exhaust fumes in catalytic.
Yeah, converters. I know a lot of people steal the catalytic converter for the...
Right. But with the move from petrol and diesel cars to electric cars, is there going to be a need for platinum?
I don't think so.
So that's a threat to our entire industry.
Yeah.
So the development of platinum was a result of continuously developing technology to use platinum. And we need to have South Africans, learning about platinum chemistry so they can be developing new technologies that will make use of the metal so that we keep this critically important industry open.
So I think the one thing I mainly want to know, and a lot of our people watching would also want to know, is how do you actually get started doing your own business? Because a lot of times it does seem like a scary step because you're risking a lot, and a lot of people don't know the first steps to take.
So let's talk about what it means to start a business, because as I mentioned, we fresh out, after university and working in an NGO, we started a consulting and investment company, which grew to quite a big company. So the first thing to appreciate when you're starting a business is that you just have ideas, but your knowledge of what will and won't work is very, very limited. So you think a customer might like a particular product or a particular service, but you don't know it.
Yeah.
There's only one way of knowing it, and that's when the customer is confronted with the offering, and they'll either say yes or no. So the difference between a fantasy and a viable business is having a paying customer. So the most important piece of advice one can give anyone thinking about a business is, do you have a paying customer lined up? Do you know exactly what that customer is looking for? Has that customer committed to buying from you? Remember, when you are selling anything to any customer, you are competing with every other business on the planet to sell that customer, whatever you're offering. So you've got to know what the customer values the most, so you can deliver that. Now, the single biggest asset that you can have before you start a business is having an anchor customer. That is the customer that says, if you'll supply me with this product or this service, we will pay you, and we guarantee we will buy this from you as long as you supply it to us. Then you've got something viable. Establishing a business without having that anchor customer is pure risk, because you just don't know if what you're planning to sell, anyone's going to want it and going to want to pay the price for it. So one can't overemphasize enough. Put a lot of emphasis in working with customers first. Then you can start a planning process. You can start looking at the financials. You can start seeing, are you actually able to produce or deliver this product or service at the price the customer is willing to pay? Because if your price is too high, they'll go somewhere else.
Yeah.
So that's the most productive thing you can do before starting a business. Plans, very sophisticated plans. I don't think it's worth spending much time on them. I think the other piece of advice I'd give is start small. Don't be proud. There's a good reason why some of the biggest businesses in the world have started in garages. Because it's only when you've started a business will you actually learn about what the market wants from you and what they don't want from you. If you've put a lot of money into starting something big and only then you discover that what you've set up is not what the market is actually looking for, you'll lose all your money and you won't have any money left over to keep going. Whereas when the value of starting small is your mistakes are small. And the big value of those first few years when you're small is what you learn.
So essentially what you're saying is first have your main customer that you know you're going to have, then plan, then also in that planning process have a small idea of what you're going to do, which is not like a niche market, but implement on a small scale. And see, the customer might have said all kinds of things, but when it comes to reality, then it's a whole different story.
A whole different story. And you're going to have to learn how to produce what that customer is looking for. It doesn't just, that knowledge doesn't fall out the sky. You can have a lot of people who've been to university, etc. But the learning curve of actually bringing that product to market is always very, very steep. Go through that learning curve on a small scale before you lose a lot of money trying to do it on a big scale. Because the bigger the scale, the greater the complexity. And the greater the complexity, the greater the chance you've got of failing. So please don't underestimate the value, how much learning you do when you're operating on a small scale. And when you've got that mastered and customers like you and are willing to recommend you, then start scaling up. Because here's the other thing to bear in mind when you're starting a new business. Nothing will go as planned.
Yeah. I mean, like, the minute you start business, not everyone's going to come rushing to you. It takes time and it'll be frustrating, but I can imagine.
Nothing will go as planned. You can spend years and years drawing up what you believe is the perfect business plan, but somehow reality always has a way of biting you in the back from an unexpected place. So really, when an investor is investing in a small business or in a startup, they are investing in the quality of the entrepreneur, the quality of the champion.
Yeah.
Because it's business is overwhelmingly about problem solving. And so what an investor is looking for is this person, this entrepreneur, able to solve problems really, really
like on the fly and everything
effectively?
Well,
because all the investor knows is the business plan might look good, but if the investor has been around the block, they know reality is not going to be what that business plan says it's going to be. And the entrepreneur must be willing to solve problems and adapt and adjust and sell something completely different if
and
that's
unique.
what the customer.
Well, Edwin, thank you so much for coming on and giving us some really good insight and everything. Oh, yep, sure.
I just want to add 2 other pieces of advice.
Sure, yeah.
So the one thing is, where possible, if you're able to get a big brother, a partner that's been there, done that, that is or a mentor who's able to guide you through the establishment of the business, that will save you a lot of pain and will give you access to customers and such like. The other thing that I want to emphasize as well is don't underestimate the importance of luck when you start a business. Think of those poor people who established a business just before COVID hit.
Oh, yeah.
They didn't do anything wrong.
But then COVID came and
they did all the research, etc. They established the business. They'd have lost all their money. It's just bad luck.
And timing,
and sometimes the stars line up for you and the customer is right, the investor is right, etc. and your business flies. Usually, that's not the case. So you have to just stay in there
yeah.
until the stars align. Thanks.
Well, Edwin, thank you so much for coming on and giving us a lot of advice and everything on how to start a business and what to actually look for and what to avoid. Well, I mean, kind of what you said about avoiding some things, but mainly thank you for actually just saying what to actually do when starting up your own business. And thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys did enjoy it. If you guys did, please give a like, subscribe, and hit subscribe and hit the notification bell so you guys know when we upload it for next time. Edwin, thank you so much.
Thank you very, very much, and good luck. I think what you're doing is wonderful.